colossal storm slamming to landfall today. The fiercest hurricane ever recorded. 200-mile-per-hour winds and nothing standing in its way. Ben Carson surges ahead in Iowa, plowing past Donald Trump. Now 2 polls confirm it. It's the first time that Trump's been behind in any battleground state since June. Plus, sex parties at Louisville. The college hoops powerhouse is under fire with accusations of paid escorts for players and recruits. Today, Coach Rick Pitino says he won't step down. Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jim Sciutto in today for Jake Tapper, and we begin today with breaking news in the world lead. Seemingly out of nowhere, Hurricane Patricia has exploded. Now, the largest hurricane ever recorded. It is just seconds away from slamming a tourist mecca in Mexico. 200-mile-per-hour sustained winds, 245 miles per hour gusts, 20 inches of rain, and with a pulverizing wall of water that could leave the coastline drowned and devastated. The U.S. not out of danger at all, with this monster threatening to team up with another storm that has already flooded parts of Texas and sent mobile homes floating away. CNN's Martin Savage is live inside Puerto Vallarta. Martin, I mean, really an incredible storm as we listen to these warnings. What are the conditions there right now?
Well, you know what's fascinating, Jim, is the fact that you look out here, and this is looking on the old part of Puerto Vallarta. This is that calm that is before the storm. The air is incredibly still. Light rain's falling, and it is intensifying. Not a breath of wind. And if you look out on the ocean that's in the bay there, it is almost flat as glass. The town itself, though, this is usually bustling with tourists, deserted. It has that kind of spooky feel as you drive in. Police are monitoring and driving through the streets. You see them just moments before air. You could hear an emergency announcement being broadcast on a speaker system here. The tourist hotels have been evacuated. They're gone, either sent to Guadalajara, pushing out in major buses, or being moved to schools that are up in the hills. The same is true of the people who live here. The stores are all closed. Restaurants, casinos, anything in this town is closed. They're holding their breath and waiting for what comes next. Jim?
Martin, we've heard from some people on the ground that the warnings from the government to locals there, as well as tourists, that they came late, not necessarily giving people either the time or the resources to get out. Have you seen that there? Have you heard that?
Well, you know, you have to respect the fact that this is a storm that grew with such incredible intensity, probably one of the fastest intensifying storms that we have ever seen. And this is exactly an emergency planner's worst nightmare, where you have a major city like this that is right on the water, and when you have literally only about 24, 36 hours to prepare to move everyone, I'm sure that's going to be investigated. What we saw on the road coming in, bumper-to-bumper traffic going out, a lot of it tour buses, so clearly they were moving people not just to evacuation centers, but get them out of the zone of danger. The other good thing we saw, heavy earth-moving equipment coming in this direction, which means they're planning ahead, realizing that with mudslides and with debris, roads closed for first responders. They need to get those roads open if the worst comes to it. And it will, apparently. Jim?
Well, Martin, first thing I'll say to you is stay safe, and we're going to check back with you later in the hour to get the latest. Right now, CNN meteorologist Jennifer Gray, she's tracking this monster storm. Jennifer, you hear stories about it being a miles-wide hurricane with these really intense winds. What's the latest update?
Yeah, well, the hurricane force winds are going to spread about 75 miles across this storm, and it is very close. And we just heard Martin say those roads are bumper-to-bumper traffic. This storm is so close. It's only about 75, 80 miles from the coast, and it has winds of 200 miles per hour, the strongest storm ever in the Western Hemisphere. That's equivalent to a F5 tornado. You don't want to be in your car. So now is the time to be in that safe place. It's moving to the north at 12 miles per hour. There's going to be a wall of water, storm surge associated with this. So you want to be away from the coast as well. It is going to make landfall as a very strong Category 4 or Category 5 within the next couple of hours, and then it's going to continue its track inland. It will decrease. It will, those winds will start to decrease once it makes its way inland because the terrain is so mountainous, but it will continue to contain all of that rain, and so we are going to see possible flash flooding as well as those deadly landslides that you can see in these mountainous regions. We're talking about anywhere from 10 to 20 inches of rain right along the coast, not to mention possible historic storm surge along the Gulf Coast. During Katrina, we had about a 27-foot storm surge. We could see even higher here along the coast in Mexico. This is unprecedented. It could possibly be catastrophic right along that coastline where the eye crosses, Jim.
Jennifer, you probably heard Martin on the ground there describe how the government really didn't have a sense of this very early on, but that's because it developed so quickly, this storm. How did it get so strong so fast?
And Martin was right. This could be one of the fastest intensifying storms that we've ever seen. In about 24 hours, it went from a tropical storm all the way to a Category 5 storm. One of the reasons, this is an El Nino year. We have warmer than normal sea surface temperatures. Temperatures right along the Mexican coast are running in the mid-80s. That's very ripe for hurricane development. There's also very low wind shear. And so all of the environmental factors are in place. It is going to be a very, very strong storm when it makes landfall. El Nino year, we most of the time see above active seasons for Pacific, below active for Atlantic. That's just what we've seen this year, especially with those Pacific storms and their intensity, big and strong, just like the one we're seeing now.
Jennifer Gray, we know we're going to be following this. Thanks very much. Let's go now to Jonathan Lake. He's on the phone from Puerto Vallarta. He's a property owner on vacation there, and he's decided to stay. Jonathan, you're deciding to tough this out in the face of the largest recorded storm. You have to tell us why.
Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, we didn't really have a choice. This hurricane, Patricia, came on so quickly. We arrived yesterday morning at 9 a.m. and had no idea. People weren't even talking about this storm. It wasn't until last evening, when we started seeing people boarding up their homes, did people start really chattering about this. And then around 2 o'clock in the morning was when our phone started ringing from the emergency response about the evacuations. So, again, not a choice, didn't have a choice, but again, needing to stay to provide help in the aftermath as well.
So it sounds like you got the warning, but the government didn't give you really the means or the time to heed that warning.
Right, exactly, correct. Underneath our door this morning was a note that said that the government was evacuating the hotel and the tourist zones. That was really the first, and when we realized how huge this storm really was becoming and continuing to become.
Is it like a ghost town there now, or there are a lot of other people staying as well, or who had no choice but to stay?
Yeah, great question. So downtown in the hotel zone, which is about 150 steps down the hillside from where we've sort of been evacuated up to, it's really a ghost town now. It's the quietest I've ever seen downtown Puerto Vallarta. But so all the hotels emptied out the tourists and moved them up into residences and hotels up here on the mountainside.
Now, tell me about those buildings, as we're talking about 200-mile-an-hour winds. Do they look like they're capable of withstanding a storm like this?
I think they are. These are all concrete buildings. There's going to be a number of, there's going to be the broken ceramic tiles. There's going to be the broken windows. But Puerto Vallarta has sustained a couple of storms like this in the past, where the heaviest damage was right along the hotel zone next to where the restaurants in the downtown area is. That's where it's been worse in the past, especially from a 30-foot storm surge that they're expecting.
So tell us about the mood then. There must be a lot of concern. Are people worried? Are they scared?
Well, I've been asked this by my colleagues back in New York at a ploy where I work. I say that there's three faces of the individuals here in Puerto Vallarta right now as the incoming storm. You have the locals who are busy trying to maintain the infrastructure. They're the ones who are putting the sandbags together, help, with the palapas and boarding up the buildings. You have the tourists in the hotels who are frantic and trying to figure out where to go, how to get to this next place, what's going on with my vacation. You have the third face of it, which are the ones who are kind of the storm chasers. Life is great. Nothing's going to harm me. They're down playing on the beach, playing on the pier, having hurricane parties, if you will. So three very separate faces of of what's going on here right now.
Well, listen, Jonathan, please stay safe. We don't envy you down there. We hope you and the others get through the storm just fine. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. No, that's good. I just want to say one more thing. The big event right now is the storm, but I don't want anyone to forget the aftermath that's going to be here. Because, again, remember, there's going to be struggles with the infrastructure, power, water, food. So please keep this top of mind and keep your viewers top of mind on this as well.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jonathan. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
We will continue to follow this breaking news story. Hurricane Patricia is expected to make landfall at any minute. But first, our politics lead. Donald Trump admitted that he was surprised after a second poll shows that Ben Carson has a firm, nearly double-digit lead over him in Iowa. That's next.
The Lead with Jake Tapper, brought to you by Betterment. Investing made better. Learn more at betterment.com.
This is what investing looks like. This is rebalancing your portfolio. This is tax loss harvesting. This is life with Betterment. Technology so smart, it automatically manages your investments for you. With the largest automated investing service in America. You tell us where you want to go, and we create a unique financial plan to help you get there. This is your future with Betterment. Investing made better.
They are the builders, the innovators, the healers, and the teachers. These are your employees, and they define your business. Your people are your business. Stand behind them. Put them first. Ultimate Software. People first.
With my moderate to severe ulcerative colitis, the possibility of a flare was almost always on my mind.
Thinking about what to